Yeah, man, as I was saying before my video got cut off previously, man, yeah, The Rock was never really marketed to represent black folks. You know what I mean? And again, that helped him in his stardom. Look at WWE and how they treated black stars. Black stars were never marketed as the face of the company ever. Booker T is one of the most like outstanding wrestlers ever, right? And he happens to be a black man. Booker had what as a heel, he was a champion. He was never celebrated as a face ever. When he was a face, he was tag team champion with Goldust, right? And it was like gimmicky and it was kind of like it was funny, but he was never taken serious as a face even when he was champion. He never got to be like on the cover of all these magazines and getting interviewed like John Cena and even The Rock, right? And yeah, because they didn't really market black wrestlers like that. Look at Shelton Benjamin should have been way bigger than what he was. Shelton Benjamin was phenomenal. He should have had like an illustrious career where he was like one of the faces of the business, and he never received that just due, right? And they'll say, well, Shelton was never vocally on the mic. He was just never, he didn't have the best mic skills. Let me tell you something. Jeff Hardy was champion, right? Jeff was never great on the mic. He just was good at aerodynamics, flying through the air, all the aero stuff and all of that. And he was a daredevil dude, and he was great at the stunts and all of that, right? And he was a fan favorite. But he was never, like, to use that as, oh, he wasn't good, like, oh, Shelton wasn't good on the mic. Jeff was not good on the mic at all, hardly. He wasn't charismatic on the mic. In the ring, he was fun to watch, but outside of that, man, Jeff really got, and I hate to say this because I love Jeff. Jeff personality ain't booming, but they would try to use that as a way, well, Shelton Benjamin wasn't marketed better, right? So I've seen these things with black, even Ron Simmons. They'll try to use Ron's age. Ron, I don't care, man. It's certain dudes that should have got their just due, and the black wrestlers did not get that. The one and The Rock, because of his racial ambiguity, they were able to sell him as something else, as something other. And again, it was more digestible for a white audience at that time in the late 90s. When you see The Rock, oh my God, they don't really see a black man the way I saw him as black. Because I'm a young 7-year-old kid, I see a dude that's dark like me and carrying the same swagger and persona that I see and the charisma that I see in my everyday neighborhood with the jury, the flash, the bravado. I recognize that from a lot of the black dudes around the way. So I say, hey, that's a black man. His skin like mine, right? But I didn't know that the white audience didn't connect The Rock as black the way a lot of young black folks did. They didn't connect him as black, even though his father is clearly a black Canadian man, black to the bone gristle, afro and all, afro and all. And the white audience was aware that Rocky Johnson was his father, and they still did not buy The Rock as black because he had a Samoan mother. You know what I mean? And Vince McMahon in wrestling played into that. So they didn't market him like, again, and I'm not putting this on The Rock. The Rock never denied his blackness, right? He always said he was, he acknowledged that he was half black. He never denied it. But he never made us feel like he represented black folks. And I'm going to say this. I'm going to be for real, even though The Rock, and I'm going to touch on The Rock and how he's really doing some great things in wrestling right now to make it pop. And The Rock is my favorite wrestler of all time. But I'm going to tell y'all, I don't think The Rock was comfortable within his blackness or comfortable being viewed as black when he was younger. Again, like I said in my previous video, whenever they would say, you're black champion. Oh, wait, half black. Anytime somebody made a mention of black, he would always be quick to say half black. I don't want to ignore my mom's side, right? And again, it's due to the fact that he was raised with his mom's side of the family, the Samoan side, and I don't think he had connections to his black side like that. If you study the story of Rocky Johnson, I got Rocky Johnson book right here. When you study the story of Rocky Johnson, he and his mother had a disconnection. He got put out of the house when he was 12 or 13 years old. And so I think there was a rift to Rocky Johnson's family. There was a rift between Rocky Johnson's family and The Rock, where he was only being raised around the Samoan side. You know what I mean? And again, I speak about how in interviews, when he was talking outside of wrestling, he didn't seem like his character. And I know people put on fronts for that, they're putting on a character. But it was like The Rock really was not, it was like he was putting on his best imitation of what a black man was when he was in wrestling, with the swagger and the bravado versus that really being him. You know what I mean? And but I don't think he was really comfortable in his blackness. When you hear stories about him not wanting to have the red, green, what color? Red, green, and yellow colors on him, that the nation of the nation of domination colors. He didn't want to wear those colors. He didn't want to wear the kufi on his head and nothing like that. He didn't want to be looked at as really staunchly pro-black. I think he had a fear of being looked at as, oh man, you're gonna make things about race, and him being alienated from white audiences. So he didn't want to play into the pro-black angle or being really, really black like that. As an adult, I think he's more comfortable with it now than ever, because his daughter on code, right? She's putting up stuff about Trayvon Martin, George Floyd, and talking about how Black Lives Matter and talking about police brutality. His young daughter was. But The Rock really, he didn't feel comfortable doing that until he got older. Now he starts talking about him being black and, you know what I mean, and all these type of things. But he wasn't really that comfortable with it. And again, wrestling, they really were fine with it. They were trying to market him as other because, again, when you got a predominantly white audience who's used to seeing white American men be champions, it's more digestible if The Rock is packaged as something other than black. You know what I mean? It's more digestible for a white man's teenage daughter to be lusting and swooning over a guy that he's not really black like that. You know, he's really not that black. He's safe. He's cool. He's lighter skin toned. You know, we don't really know if he can put him in black. It's more digestible for him to be the face, for them to buy into, versus a Booker T or Ron Simmons or whatever. I wonder what people would think if Booker T if women were swooning over, if I wonder what white men would have thought if their daughters were swooning over Booker T. You know what I mean? Or R-Truth or something, right? And I know they not like what's looked at as universally handsome like The Rock. But let's just say if a Denzel Washington was in wrestling, would they be cool with their daughter swooning over somebody like Denzel Washington? No, they was comfortable with The Rock. Their daughter swooning over The Rock because he was racially ambiguous. In the same way in Hollywood, man, it's easy to market him and gear him to different audiences when he's looked at as something other than black. And so wrestling and Hollywood saw that and they packaged him as something other. That's why you see in movies, he got a white family with white kids that you know this black man not going to be producing with blonde hair and blue eyes, right? You see him being Samoan in the Fast and the Furious movies and simply marketed as simply Samoan. And in wrestling, they would package him with the Samoans, and then on Black History Month, they'll throw him in real quick, you know. But being racially ambiguous helped propel The Rock's career on both sides.